So what I want to do is adumbrate the Ghazalian disciplining of the self by taking you through briefly one of Imam al-Haddad's greatest qasaid, probably his greatest qasida, his greatest poem, which is his famous Ta'iyya. Now you'll no doubt be aware that longer qasaid in Islamic literature, particularly in Arabic, begin with a prelude, sometimes referred to as the nasib, which takes the form of a conjuration with the ancient Bedouin sense of exile and loss. The pre-Islamic poetry of Arabia usually began with a bereavement scene or a scene of loss, where the poet stands in the deserted encampment where his beloved used to be and declaims magnificent verses on his sense of loss and bereavement and where has she gone, I must dedicate my life to finding her again. And the religious poets of Islam frequently continue this ancient Arabian theme, but by giving it a meaning, because the beloved who is sought is a beloved with a capital B. We look around us and we see the signs that the beloved was here but somehow seems no longer to be perceptible to us. And we have this shauq and this himma and this yearning, the desire to return to the joy and the beauty and the proximity and the intimacy of the beloved. So this kind of ancient Arabian prelude is used by Imam al-Haddad in many of his qasaid. And because here, and this is a long qasida, it's quite extended, I will give you only a few lines from it, with limited apologies to those of you who can't follow the Arabic. He says, بعثت لجيران العقيق تحيتي وأودعتها ريح الصباحين هبتي, which means something like, I send to, or I have sent to the neighbors of Al-Aqiq. Aqiq, of course, famous place in Arabia, a valley near Medina, burial place of some of the Sahaba. Tahiyyati, my greetings, وَأَوْدَعْتُهَا رِيحَ الصَّبَاحَيْنِ هَبَّتِ, and bid them farewell in the safekeeping through the wind of the two dawns which has blown. And there's an esoteric significance here. Sabahain exoterically means the early dawn, the pre-dawn breeze, and then the dawn, the breeze that comes after dawn. صحيرا وقد مرت علي فحركت فؤادي كتحريك الغصون الرطيبة. صحيرا, the early dawn, that's when this wind comes. And the wind in Sufi poetry generally is that which conveys to one the fragrance of the loved ones or the beloved. وقد مرت علي فحركت, and this wind has come by me, it has passed by me, and it has moved fu'adi, my heart, which moves just like fresh branches move. If you're familiar with the qasida known as Al-Mabahith Al-Asliya of Ibn al-Banna al-Saraqusti, which is one of the greatest of the Spanish Sufi poems, you'll be familiar with this image, that the heart is agitated by this breeze that brings the fragrance of holiness. وأهدت لروحي نفحة عنبرية من الحي فاشتاقت لقرب الأحبة. And it gives my soul the gift of a nafha, a breath, a fragrance, anbariya, of amber. But Anbariya is also the name of a district of Medina. Min al-Hayyi, of that district. فَاشْتَاقَتْ لِقُرْبِ الْأَحِبَّةِ. So it feels longing, yearning for the proximity of the loved ones. So Imam al-Haddad is beginning this qasida using this very ancient Arabian metaphor, but in order to arouse our curiosity. Who are these ahibba whom he has lost? what is this movement in his heart that their mention induces. وحنت لتذكار الليالي التي خلت لنا بين هاتيك الربوع الأنيسة. Classical Arabian expression. And it lovingly yearns to remember the nights that have gone by, that we experienced in those intimate quarters, those beloved places. وإخواني الصدق أوحش القلب بعدهم فلله ما لاقيت من حر فرقتي. And brethren of truth, sincerity, honesty, whose distance has brought alienation, lowliness to my heart. How great by Allah is the heat and the sorrow caused by that separation. دياري نأت عن دورهم وتباعدت منازلنا لا عن قلاء وجفوة. My lands are distant from their lands. There is a separation. Our abodes are apart, but not because of any dislike or shunning. على الحرص مني أن أراهم ومنهم فما سمحت بمنى الزمان بنيتي. Despite my great desire to see them, but my fate and the fate that time decrees has not permitted that to be. وما بعدهم عني ولا البعد عنهم بحال اختيار بل بقهر مشيئتي. Their distance from me and my distance from them is not as the result of any choice. It is because of the overpowering divine decree. وحكم إله العالمين منفذ على كل حال والرضا خير رقيتي. And the decree of the God of the worlds will always come to pass in every circumstance, and the best protection is to be satisfied with that decree. به تنجلي عنا الهموم إذا طرت وتصرى به عنا الهموم الملمة. Through it, in other words, through this virtue of rida, patient acquiescence and satisfaction with the divine decree, despite the separation from the beloved that it has entailed. Through this, humum, stresses and cares evaporate whenever they may come to me. And al-humum al-mulimmati, intense, inevitable sorrows disperse likewise. And then he goes on to talk, and I shan't read these verses, about the qualities of those loved ones whose absence he feels so deeply. And then you realize that he's talking about his teachers in ancient and in recent times, and urging himself to have patience and steadfastness despite the almost uncontrollable yearning that he has for seeing them again.